Hi, everybody. Welcome to Why, What, Who Wednesday, answering the question. This is a weekly feature that we're doing here on Radiant Sources and our Radiant Sources Facebook page. So if you want to get in on the fun, please like our page on Facebook. And every Wednesday, it's open for a question, to ask questions. And then the professors and I will come in and answer them. Usually on Thursday, we had the energies really had me spinning yesterday, which was Thursday, so I didn't get down to it. So today's Friday, and we're sitting here to answer a question. Now, we'd be more than happy, the professors and I, to pick one or two questions out of the group, but it just so happens that the past couple of weeks, last week was our inaugural version of this. And this week, last week we had one question, and this week we have one question as well. And this question, this question posed this week is, can you please speak to the place of the Jewish people and their collective karma on earth? Why are they the perennial scapegoats undergoing suffering and persecution? And why has Israel seemed to have turned into an abuser of the Palestinians? In parentheses, itself, or an abuser itself, question mark. Will this cycle ever be transcended? Thank you, dear Stacy. Okay, so let me take a couple of breaths and see what the professors have to say about this one. And good day to you. Thank you, dear friend, for asking this question. Indeed, this is, to put it very basically, what's going on here is really just a long drawn out family squabble. They are basically, these two groups are basically cousins to each other. Very close first cousins. They share the same bloodline, really. But what is going on here too as well, take any family situation, look at families, all over. In some families, there is a favorite child. And the favorite child may not really want that position, but it's the chosen child. And it seems the parents, for whatever reason, will show some favoritism, which then in turn can make the other children in the family feel lesser than. You see, this is really what's going on here. The nation of Israel, if you go back into some of its history, because there's so much more here that you don't even know yet. There's so much history of your planet and of many civilizations that you're not even aware of. You're not really getting the full history here. But some of the major well-known history here, where the Jews were set apart. The nation of Israel was set apart. It was chosen, but not in the sense that it was chosen as the favorite. It was chosen to be set apart to experience deep separation. If you look at even all of the Levitical laws, there are countless laws that dictate every aspect of the life of an ancient Israelite. Many will still hold to those laws today, although it is impossible to hold to all of them. Impossible today to hold to all of them. In fact, it was really impossible to hold to all of them, even when they were first given. They were not set up to fail, not by any means, but it was more about striving for something higher, striving for really setting oneself apart, devoting oneself to real deep godliness, separating from all the other surrounding nations. Their laws were very, very different. The laws on cleanliness especially. There were laws on, the Levitical laws go very deep into every aspect in the laws of cleanliness. both for the body, both for the community, and for mind and spirit. So basically, the nation of Israel went into, were sort of a big billboard for separation. Now, your game here on planet Earth was all about separation. You separated from, you separated from source to come here to the planet. You began in a sort of oneness and then factioned off into different tribes. And this too is really a tribal thing as well that's going on over in this land that you call Israel. But anyway, if you go back to this, you will see that it's really just about a favored child and the other feeling not favored, and this is really what's going on here. There's a lot, this could be a full discussion in and of itself that could take at least an hour of your time to get into all of the ins and outs of this. But suffice it to say, let's just call it is just a family squabble. To your human, of course, it appears to be much, much more than that. To your human compassion and to your human senses, it feels much, much more than that. What we would like to say to you is that it will indeed eventually smooth itself out. As far as the karma, and it will smooth itself out in a way that the falling of this great wall, this great Berlin Wall, it came down overnight. You took your focus off of it and it came down overnight. But there is so much tension being placed. That wall, by the way, came down overnight with great ease. Nobody really expected it to happen. And there it was. You woke up one day and it was crumbled and open. Very much the same. There's very much the same potential here for what's going on in that part of the world, in this family squabble. So as far as the nation of Israel, or the Jews as a whole, their karma, the karma was it's a group karma. It's not an individual karma. You see, anyone within the group, anyone that is within that group karma can break away from it, and many have, and they will continue to do so. But there's a karmic cycle that is going on there. You not only do you have your individualized karmic cycles, but you also have group cycles, karmic cycles as well. And the Jews hold a very particular karmic, hold a very particular karma. Theirs is all about being set apart, being chosen, separation. It's really all about separation, feeling separate. And then others wanting to say, well, no, you need to join in, but they're still very much holding on to this energetic of separation. And it is appropriate. This was the way it was designed to be. It's like a big billboard for you to really have all of you to look and see what separation does. You see, you're all part of a human family. But you will look at different races, you will look at each other, whether there's a different skin color or a different economic bracket or anything like that. You tend to separate male, female. You tend to put yourselves all in little categories and groups, which creates more separation as well. It creates an us versus them sort of dynamic there. And this happens in the microcosm. This happens in your individual existence, and perhaps maybe it wouldn't even really be taken note of. But on a more grander scale, on a more billboard scale, you're seeing that happen. You're seeing what plays out when there is such deep separation. This is the great gift. Let us repeat. This is the great gift that is being given to you by this squabbling family. For you to see, to really take a look at that, to see what separation really looks like, you see. As far as the Israelites being the scapegoat, well, then you are saying that they are victims, but there is nobody on the planet who are victims. All of you come in with a specific, you all sort of come in with a specific plan. You all choose your experiences before you come in into the earth experience. So anyone who has volunteered to stay within that group karma, the Jewish group karma, well, they are not victims. They have chosen it for a reason. And in many cases, it's for their own individual growth, but it's also to help the planet to see what deep separation looks like and how it can play out. There's a big billboard for that. In your karmic cycles, you have all been you have all been we are going to use the word victim. You have all been, we're using it for the sake of this conversation, but you have all been victim, you have all been perpetrator. It is a cycle. You have all been rich, you have all been poor, you have all had wonderful health, you have all had bad health. You've been male, you've been female, you've been robbed, and you have been the robber. You have been the victim of murder, and you have been a murderer. There's nothing any of you haven't experienced in your many incarnations or your expressions. And it is the same here. It is a shifting. It is a shifting of things here. And it is also another part of this too, is if you look at yourself on an individual basis, perhaps you yourself felt lesser than. Perhaps you yourself felt set apart, and not particularly for good reasons. You were set apart, perhaps you were made fun of, or you stood out because you were not like the rest. Many of you can understand this. And after a while, you have had enough of feeling lesser than, or you have had enough of being ridiculed. You have had enough, and so you start speaking up, you start speaking out, or you start setting certain parameters. This is really what's going on with those of the Jewish people there in that part of the world. There is enough now. They have become a critical mass of not wanting to be seen as victims, not wanting to be in that anymore, not wanting to be set apart. So basically what they're trying to do, what the group karma of this is trying to do, is to sort of balance the scales here. Now, what happens whenever you are trying to balance the scale? The pendulum will always swing to one extreme to the other before it finds its balance. It will swing back and forth, and that's exactly what's happening here. Will there be peace? Eventually, yes. And how that can be achieved is by you yourself, dear ones, by not taking sides in this. Now, you say, but it is wrong. It is wrong what the Palestinians are doing to the Jews. It is wrong what the Jews are doing to the Palestinians. But stay out of that, because you're only going to go into more separation. You're only going to create more division and separation there. That which you focus on expands, you see, dear friends. And the whole world really is watching, and the whole world really has an opinion on what's going on here. And the whole world is polarized when it comes to that part of the world. It is about to break through. It will break through. We're going to say is about to break through, but in our time really doesn't exist for us. And so for us, we're seeing it already breaking through. For you, it will take a little bit more time here on the physical planet to see that happen. But there will be a breakthrough, dear friends. There will be a breakthrough. In the meantime, pay more attention to where you might be setting yourself apart, to where you might be separating yourself or feeling separate from your larger human family. You see, again, this goes back to, this is really just nothing more than a family squabble. What's going on over there? miscommunication, misunderstandings. You see, they have a lot more in common. This is also a very good example where if you continue to focus on your differences, because that's what's going on over there, there's a focusing really on fundamental differences. But if they were to go in and to start focusing on what they have in common, which is much, not just having the human condition in common, they have much in common, even within their faiths. One calls their food kosher, the other one calls it halal. Abraham plays a very big role in both. And the list can go on and on and on. So focus more on the oneness, even within yourself. Don't go in and take sides in this, because you then are responsible for sending that energy and or for contributing to the separation that's going on there, the family squabble. Again, dear friends, that's all this really is. Take it to the extreme. But then again, in the U.S., you had this Hatfields and McCoys, where there was all of this death and fighting, all of that. Take a deep breath, dear friends. Just keep sending peace and stay within your own peace. Stay within your own oneness. Stay within connection with your whole human family. And with that, we wish you a very good day. Okay, well, they really oversimplified that because I was seeing so much more, and what they were showing me, there's so much more to this story. It takes up volumes of what we could go through and what they could talk about as to all of the dynamics, all of the group karma, all of that stuff. They could go on and on about that. So I'm glad they kind of simplified it for this. But also too, they weren't making light of the fact that this is by saying it's a family squabble. The professors understand how we feel as humans. When we see anybody getting hurt, because children are being affected in that area as well, on both sides. And but I can see the wisdom in where the professor said to really stay focused on to stay focused in our oneness and not to join in that separation, because we're only going to expand on that if we keep focusing on it, right? What did the professor say? We know this, that which we focus on expands. So let's, in fact, you know what? We can all take a moment. The professors are tapping on my shoulder. They're like, let's do this. Thanks, guys. So let's just all take a nice deep breath together and really drop into your heart center. Drop into you. Drop into your heart center. Know that you are not in any separation. Know that you are in total oneness with you. Now just radiate love from your heart. Just radiate love. How I'll do it sometimes is I send pink heart-shaped bubbles to anyone or any particular situation that is under stress. And really, again, the professors are saying that it's really coming to a stress point where things will break over there, over in that part of the world, where they will come to some sort of balance. In fact, they're saying just the love that we send, they're saying just the love that we're sending will help to heal the very deep wounds of separation. that are being felt over, and that it actually, it's not, it goes beyond feeling that deep wound of separation within the people. A deep wound of separation is actually in the land. So the more we can send love there, and the more that we stay focused on our oneness with the self, we stay focused and not going into separation, us versus them, then we won't be contributing to it. And if we're not contributing to it, eventually it will just dissipate. So I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you for that wonderful question. And look forward to next week's Why, What, Who Wednesday. You can ask a question. You can ask a question about what's going on in the world. You can ask a question about what's going on in your life. Don't ask any questions about your dead loved ones, because the professors just will not even answer that. Basically, the answer is your loved ones are fine. Concentrate on your own journey. Theirs is over. All right, everybody. I hope you have a most wonderful weekend, and thank you for watching. Stacy